What an absolute shambles at the London Stadium. West Ham United 0, Brighton 2, 3 games, 270 minutes, no goals, no points, an absolute shambles. Kieran, talk to me.
I think I've got to laugh here because it was that bad. I just can't. I can't pick anyone in that team that I could say well done. No one.
It's awful,
It
isn't
was
it?
just awful. It was awful from beginning to end. And again, what I when we done the preview, I said we needed to dictate the pace of the game. And what happened? They dictated the pace of the game. From beginning to end, they had all the time in the world. They slowed it down, they sped it up. They kept the ball. We were chasing shadows. Souček, honestly, it's time, man. The boy has got to be out of the team, either given a break or sold off, because he's yet again proved he's just not up to it at the moment. He's not up to it. And he's terrible. I thought Ben Rama went back to, again, he played an organised Premier League team and he went back to his usual and just frustrating and annoying and done nothing. Run around and delivered nothing. Bowen was busy but delivered nothing. Cresswell got found out. I think that Solly March had him and was terrorising him. Kerr looked rusted. He was rash to give the penalty away. He started off all right. He looked all right at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I don't think even Zuma looked flaky on the ball. Rice, I think Rice's head has gone down myself.
Yeah, it has. It really has. Yeah.
Yeah, it has. He's not got that energy in him and he's not got the drive anymore. I think he's looking around going, do I have to do another season here?
Yeah.
Because that was dreadful.
It was. And I don't know what I put it down to, but a lot of people were are saying on Twitter, we lose Noble from the dressing room when we go to complete pot. Whether that's got anything to do with it, I don't know. We don't look like we've got any leadership. We don't look like we've got a plan A. No wonder B, C, or D. And we came up against an organised side, and quite frankly, we got battered. I thought overall, I watched about 15 minutes of the game because the streams didn't work. But from what I've read and heard, and I've watched bits of it, there's just nothing there. Let's take some of your comments. I have absolutely no words. Getting depressing. This very poor. 2 years we wait for a striker and he doesn't start him. I give up. I couldn't find a stream after Hammer's TV stopped working. Was we hit and hope hoof balls because audio commentary sounded like it. It was just, it's your boy Dan, absolutely disappointed today. Skamaka will be wondering why he joined us. Rice looks a different player this year. He does. He really, really does. Zuma and Rice barely left the dressing room. Just from top to bottom, we'll start off with the penalty. Zuma leaves Kera out to dry. He goes in and he leaves his last leg and he goes straight into him. It's inside the box. It's a penalty.
It was a bit rash. Yeah, Zuma flying up there and couldn't even pass on. Yeah, a 10-yard pass without giving the ball away. And this is where our problems start, I think, in all games. We can't pass the ball. In the last 4 days, I've seen 2 teams pass us off the park. And we're not talking Man City's and Liverpool's here, and a top echelon of Europe. We're talking Brighton and Viborg. And both teams pass the ball 10 times better than we do. And made us look average. And Brighton today made us look like a Division 1 team. They really did. They passed us off the park. They kept the ball. Their midfield with Gross and Solly Marsh and who's the other boy? McAllister, is it?
McAllister, yeah.
And Trossard. They made us look stupid. They really did.
Yeah, they did.
I just couldn't believe how bad. And we never, do you know, when you're getting battered like that, there's some kind of reaction at some stage. It never came. It never came. It was just the same old, all through the game. Nothing changed. And you go, wow.
boos at half time, boos at full time inside the stadium, and I think it sums it up. You know, heads down, nothing, no creativity. Brings on Skamaka and Cornet. As far as I've read, we didn't really see anything of them, and
No.
it was just all over for the whole 90 minutes. Just poor, you know. And there's no, and it's predictable. There's no plan.
Yeah.
It's a shambles, Kieran.
It was so predictable. Potter must have been just said, "Yeah, boys, we know how they're playing. This is what we do. We stick with this. What we trained for all week," and they did. And you would have thought at half time, even when we did make up one substitution, right? The first substitution, who came on? Potter. 30 seconds later, he had a substitution on as well.
Yeah.
Whatever we thought we were going to do, he'd combated it already. Yeah, him off, you on. And Potter just had Moyes in his pocket all day long. He was never in the game, tactically, and the players were never in the game at all.
Graham,
woefully.
Graham Potter worked this out. Flipping Harry Potter could have worked this out because it's just so predictable from top to bottom. Let's bring Lawrence on. Lawrence, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, guys? I was just listening. I mean, not much to add. You guys are spot on. I mean, the predictability. It was just. It was. I don't want to say disgusting, but I'm just frustrating is the biggest thing because you see how Brighton is technical. They can pass the ball. They're fluid. We get the ball. We're tripping over each other, getting in each other's way. I mean, bringing Skamaka on at the end. You know, they hit it on. They couldn't get him the ball. He needs the ball to make something happen. He made that last ditch effort himself, got it to the middle, passed it down, and made a little something happen. But you know, I gotta blame it on the coaching. I really do. I mean, and the predictability. It's very frustrating to watch. I saw more energy in Bowen today. Again, a match like that, I would never give someone from West Ham a man of the match. I just can't do it. But I saw a little bit more energy out of Bowen. Ben Rama looked like he had some things going there, but it's just, I don't know if it's in our head or not now to get it in the net. You know, after a while, you start playing matches like that. You know, you start wondering to yourself, can you do that? I mean, and in the Premier League to go 3 down now, and then we got Aston Villa next time, and then we got is Tottenham after that.
Spurs and then Chelsea. Yeah,
I'm nervous. I'm really nervous.
6 games and no points. You'd get really nervous then.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair, before we come back,
we beat nobody playing like that today. Nobody in the league. I don't care who it is.
Totally
We're not beating anybody. So the improvement has to be massive for us to beat anyone. Never mind Villa, Spurs, and Chelsea. We're not beating nobody playing like that.
Yeah, and I think you know where are points coming from now? Because Villa, they're not great, but they're going to beat us if we play like that away from home. Chelsea and Spurs are going to batter us if we play like this. All of a sudden, we're 6 games with very few points on the board. Questions will be asked on Moyes, and they're starting to be asked now. And it's really not looking good. Let's head back to these comments. Bunch of flops, as expected. Need a massive response at Villa Park. If we play like that, we're not going to get it. Terrible. We've got to watch my language, but that was crap. End of it. Certainly was. That's bang on. This is E. Davis. It's like we're playing with 9 men. We'll get to Souček in a minute, but it is like we're playing with 9 men week in, week out. We've got no plan, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, but there's nothing else to say because it's just predictable. Potter, the tactician, Moyes, the egoist, embarrassing first half. Moyes needs to change the formation for starters. We've been sussed up big time. We have, you know, and our form for quite a while now, Kieran, has been off. Moyes needs to go back to the drawing board this week, and he's got to work out a plan B. He's got to change things. He's got to drop people. He's got to drop his favourites, and he's got to start playing other players that are sat on the bench.
He's got to do something, and certain players there now don't deserve to be playing first team football, you know. And it's not, when you say our form as well, Jake, our form was horrendous coming into the end of last season. It was poor.
Exactly
really
right.
Poor.
Yep.
All our pre-season's been poor.
Poor. Yeah.
Very poor. And we've continued into this. And we don't take any notice of the pre-season, but maybe we should now, because now we're 3 games in and we've got worse. We've got worse. you know, that this third game is the worst we played out of all three of them, and you don't see any end to it. So we are carrying Souček at the moment. It's absolute pointless having him on the pitch. Cresswell now is getting found out. He got found out by quite an average winger today.
Yeah.
And Antonio's running around but getting nowhere. Like Bowen was busier today. He did look a bit better. He was trying hard. Nothing really went for him. Like I said, Ben Rama, I thought, went back to his usual disappointing self. And I think Rice's head is down. I'm not seeing the same Rice. I'm not seeing that energy to push us forward when players aren't doing it. And he grabs the ball by the horns. He's not doing that. I think his head's down. And I think we've got issues, mate. I think we've got major issues now.
Yeah, and Lawrence, the overriding factor comes back to the midfield, because people like Flynn Downs, Connor Coventry, these players are sitting on the bench, and Thomas Souček is playing every single week, and he's been poor for a long time. Why is he starting him? And Moyes needs to get this favourites, folder, these favourite players. This needs to go, and he needs to play players on form, because if we keep playing Souček, we're not going to win football matches.
I totally agree. I mean, I don't know why we're not bringing those two you just brought off the bench and stuff like that. Souček is done, in my opinion. I mean, even his headers today towards the end of the match and stuff like it, say what it is, but it doesn't have a violent hit to it. I mean, how many times have we seen him just miss? I'm just disappointed that Moyes is, but are we shocked? The thing is, we're always angry. Why isn't he doing this? Moyes just sticks to this. I think, I liked one move that he did today. At first, they were bringing Scamacca on maybe 5 minutes earlier than he actually came on, and the talk was bringing off Ben Rama, which I didn't think, or I think it was Ben Rama. I didn't like that. I did like the tactic of having him and Scamacca and Antonio on there, putting Ben Rama at the number 10 and Antonio on the left, which I've always said, right, Geezer? But anyway, but I think it was a good try. I would like to see that. I'd like to see that a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Maybe start a match that way. But besides that, like you said, the Cresswells we talked about, the Součeks, something's got to change. You know what I mean? We can talk about Carr and his the penalty. I think he should have stood up. Don't think he should have went down. It was so and it goes back to your man. What Dawson being out those 3 matches, how much has that affected us? You could think that the one goal that was very nice that Brighton did, but when Zuma got past Zuma, who was supposed to be catching that guy coming up into the middle? Was it Sufal or was it? I think it was Sufal, and he just got burnt. So those things in the middle today, that was 2 goals. And I guess the question to you guys is, would Dawson made a difference on that?
Nah, no. We were played all over the park.
Yeah,
Lawrence. Well, we can pick a goal and find a mistake and all that. I don't think it really matters. And it isn't just about the result; it's about the performance. Regardless of an individual mistake might have led to a goal, they were far superior to us. And it looked, if they needed to really go and get a third goal, they could have done. That's what it looked like. And they probably should have had a third goal at Trossard's header. He had an open goal basically, and he put it over the bar. But I believe they were just controlling the game from beginning to end. Really smartly, got their goals and just controlled it, pass it. If we had scored 1, I reckon they would have been a little bit more proactive in getting a third. But they didn't need to. They just controlled it. We deserved nothing.
You got it. But then the thing is, to me, and I'm making no excuses, we played horrible and we got to change, period. I don't care who we play. Like you said, guys, we're going to lose. But with that being said, we played, Brighton. How good do you think they actually are?
Decent.
With the Premier League.
They're a good side, but we should be beating them.
Oh, for sure.
They're a top 10 side. They're a top 10 side.
Because because what I'm saying is, because last year, Brighton is going the same course that they were last year, coming in strong, playing really well. And then we are coming to say, and you hit it right on there, Geezer, is that we were hanging on to the very end on last year to stay where we were at. We were struggling. And as you said, preseason, and we all blew it off or whatever. Hey, it's just conditioning. Hey, and they were poor. They came here, and when the season started, they looked like they were out of condition. They weren't in condition, right?
That's right.
And playing poor. So there's a trend. there's a trend from last year I'm seeing, so.
Right. Let's overall walk through this team. If you guys want to put stuff like player ratings into the chat, feel free. But I'm gonna walk through this team today and go Fabianski. He wasn't fantastic. Iffy. Soufal, we can't cross a road. Zuma looked iffy today. Kera at fault for the goal. Creswell got found out. Rice not good. Souček, just Souček. Fornals did okay.
Average.
Will we agree? Average.
Average.
Average, yeah.
Ben Rama back to
Average.
himself.
Yeah.
Who else? Bowen not fantastic. Antonio.
No. Non-existent, basically.
Yeah. Skamaka Cornet came on. Not much difference. It's not good.
No,
it's not good.
I can't praise anyone really in that team.
I totally agree.
I really can't. I can say Bowen looked livelier and better than he has done the last 2 games, but achieved nothing. I just thought they had our mark all over the pitch, and nothing was working. And we couldn't do anything. I got fed up with seeing Souček give the ball away. And what worries me, right at the end there, Jake, you might have seen it, there was 2 crosses where he got his head on them, and the keeper flicked it over the bar from Souček.
Yeah.
You know, and that might be Moyes' excuse to say, well, that's why he's here to score goals like that. I'll put him back in next week.
Let's head back into this comment section. Gary, 17th looks good now. No pressing, no urgency, no enthusiasm, no pride in the jersey. Fancy paying to see that rubbish. Trudge says, I thought we would score a goal though, and didn't expect them to allay us quite as bad as they did. Commentator's favourite word he used against us was intensity. Let's scroll down. Rice defo wants out if this goes on, but maybe he's slightly to blame too. Do we think there's now Noble's gone? There doesn't seem to be much leadership in this dressing room.
Well, it's a question that might have to be asked, because it might not be just him as well. It could be the likes of Fredericks, who were great in the dressing room, apparently. And people like that, maybe Noble and Fredericks leaving, they've lost that little bit of leadership and camaraderie. And, we brought in 7 new players too. And maybe Rice isn't as good as we think he is. Because he doesn't seem to be behaving like a captain out there at the moment. He looks like his head's gone down.
Yeah, it does.
He really does. So, I don't know.
Paul says, I said it after the Forest game, something is wrong at the club. E. Davis says, it doesn't matter who we play in attack because they can't even get the ball. Gary says, why pay all that money on new signings to keep them on the bench? Same old selections. Something needs to change rapidly. Let's scroll down. Paul says, Moyes frustrates the hell out of me. He started Skamaka and Cornet on Thursday and can see what they can do, then goes back to the same tactics and players every game. Hammer Horrible says, it's therapeutic to having them have a moan. I prefer to be sat here smiling us winning, but it's just, there's...
Moyes out, get him out. I'll have him out.
There's usually, Lawrence, we sit here and there's some sort of positive to discuss. There isn't today,
That's what's worrying me coming back on, Jake. There's not one. I don't remember. There was one good pass Fornals put in Bowen in the first half. Cracking first time pass, put him through. And he went on to have a shot. That's it. That's all I remember that was any good.
No, we're highlighting people had energy. Well, shoot, they all should have energy, right? That's all we can grasp upon, because that's all we had. Our nugget is that Bowen had no energy in the first 2 games. I don't know. I mean, we just got to regroup, and that's a valid point about Noble being gone in the locker room. Is that team, and remember, they bonded behind. Remember how Lingard, and he's gone, but he knew how to bring the new guys in. He did that with Lingard. Remember, Lingard really liked Noble because of that. Who is that person now in the locker room that's doing that? And all respect to Rice, but he's a young man still. You know what I mean? He's, is he able to do that leadership role to some of these players? It's got to be asked. That's a good point, because they don't seem together. They don't seem happy. You see a lot of them like putting their hands up because they're frustrated with each other. And if you don't have the team camaraderie, we all know that, then it's going to be a long season.
Well, it gets you so far. It gets you a long way when you've got that team spirit. And
Yep.
it just looks like, from the outside looking in, that it's missing at the moment. And to put it into context there, when we played Man City, we lost 2-0, but we were battered that game, right?
Yeah.
This was exactly the same. It's only 2-0, but we got battered in every department.
Yeah, I agree. Let's scroll down on these comments. It showed that Brighton have many technical players, but we have few. It shows up every time we play them. From a hope you out. It's easy to control the game when the opposition gives you a free penalty, and it's easy to control the game when the home side just sit back and just say, you do what you like, and we'll just crack on. All yours, knock yourself out.
We let them have it. We just let them have the ball and dictate the pace, and we just chased it and went with it. It's frightening.
Sharky says horrendous display. Lawrence is right. Something needs to change. It's badly needed. Miss Hammerette says Rice is not a commanding captain like he should. When Rice just stopped early on when someone gave him a bad pass, it said a lot. He is the captain. He should be berating. Ben Rama was one of the few players who tried today. Let's scroll down. Noble is a big miss in the dressing room. Yeah, lots of people saying that. Too many new players, says Lawrence. Too many new players, but we're not playing them, are we? Centre back is a huge issue. Full back is a huge issue. Midfield is a huge issue. And we've got 3 massive issues there where it's not working. Centre back, full back, and midfield. That's 3 positions out of the what? So you've got a centre back, you've got a full back, you've got a midfielder, attacking midfielder, striker, and goalkeeper, I suppose you could say. 6 positions, got 3 positions that are seriously in need of, either form is needed, or better players is needed, or just needs a complete reboot. That's it. Let's scroll down. Ian says, why did Rice put out a video that we would be up for it today? Sadly, Rice's negative body language from the first minute told a different story today. I'll tell you what, that was put out yesterday. It was like a final word video on West Ham's Twitter page, and I thought it was strange. It was basically Rice just sat there saying, we're going to give it our all, we're going to try and win for you lot, and that's it, which I thought was very strange. But who knows? How can Rice really lead when everyone knows he'll be off at the end of the season? He's not going to command as he should. You take away set pieces from last year, it shows you how boring our players, still using Creswell, Antonio, and Fornals. Dawson is badly needed. He certainly is. Rice and Bowen think they're going to Chelsea and Arsenal. No passion and desire. Anything else, Kieran?
Yeah. If Rice is off at the end of it might be off at the end of the month at this rate. No, it was just a really terrible performance, and it had to be Brighton again, didn't it? It had to be. But mate, they played us off the park. They fully deserved it. We deserved absolutely nothing here. And if I hear any excuses from Moyes, I'm going to lose my shit.
Yeah. And just a very daunting stat. We're currently in August, or nearly in September. We're 8 months into this season. 8 months into this year. We've won 6 games in the league all year.
That's nuts.
6 games, Lawrence, all year.
Perspective. I think Antonio might have scored 4 in the last bloody 30 or 20, whatever.
Yeah, that's what they said, Geese. I think 4 in the last 30 or something like that. Yeah,
it's just not enough, is it? It's not enough for your striker. And, no, we're not in good form. But I can handle being in and out of form, but that kind of slump and it only getting worse is worrying, really worrying, because it's got relegation form written all over it. It really has. To go from challenging for top 6 and top 4, and then to looking at a team that looks like they could be a relegation candidate at this stage, which I don't think we will be, but that's the form we're in.
Yeah,
we are playing. All the games I've seen for the last 2 weeks, I think we're the worst team I've seen. I really do. And Nottingham Forest, and Nottingham Forest still getting wins.
Exactly. They're still scoring. They're still getting points on the board. Just to go back to that stat, to you, Lawrence, 6 wins in the calendar year. It's just, and to be fair, I think we haven't had a good run of form since pretty much November when we beat Liverpool. Yes, we've won in Europe and all that, but probably since Liverpool in the league, you know, last season, it's been very on and off.
Yeah, we were fading last year. We were clinging on to try to stay, and we were all trying to stay positive, move up to top 6. Remember, we were going back 6 to 8, and it was just we kept losing or a draw. We were just hanging on, and I don't want to keep beating the same drum, but like Karen said, we just carried this on. It's nothing's changed. I think what we need to really do now, I know Moyes won't do it, is we need to start bringing some of the new guys out there starting the match, the Premier League match, because someone said it really clearly, and I know there's debate about this a lot, is that, but you know what, your priority a lot of times it needs to be, you know, winning the Premier League matches, and I'm a big proponent of that. We're not playing, you know, the Championship League, we're playing in the Europe, and it's important. But I think sometimes do we lose focus of that? In the Europa last year, I was so happy we went to the semifinals and stuff like that. But that take, and I don't know the answer to this, did that take away from our performance in the Premier League? You know what I mean? Because we faded so much at the end, and we didn't have the bench. We all know that. We had injuries, and we didn't have anything in the January transfer window. So something needs to change. I think we need to start, you know, mixing it up some, bringing in the new guys, even bringing in the Ashbys and the Coventrys and guys like that, Downs, and I'm talking about in Premier League matches, and see what happens. Something's got to be better than this, right? So mix it up.
Exactly, you know. And Kieran, when we do these kind of instant match reactions, sometimes you get raw emotions, and you look back at it and think you're wrong. But I don't think I'm going to look back at this tomorrow and think anything I said is wrong.
I think on today's review, I think we're pretty safe saying everything we've said, and we probably could say more about how bad it was. So I don't think I'll regret anything about this one. Like I said, there was no positives at all in it, mate. I think Moyes got completely out-tacticked, and the team got completely outplayed in every position of the pitch. And there's nothing else. There's no positives here. The only positives is if we realise it and do something about it. That's it.
I agree. Let's take some more of these comments. WG58, it's our patterns of passing that are downfall. Potter can see this every time he plays us. Managers are working us out that if you just, you know, bully them in midfield, I know if you just play a decent game, you're going to beat us at the moment, you know. Villa are on a really bad run of form, but they're going to be well up for that. At home, you know, sometimes if you go to Villa Park, they've got quite a good atmosphere. It's predictable. It's just, it's our predictable patterns there, you know. Forget the Premier League. Let's just focus on the Conference League. I wonder whether any club has ever gone down but won a European competition. Is that possible? Can you be in the European competition whilst being in the Championship?
I think we can go for it, can't we?
No, dear.
I disagree.
Right, please. Can you imagine having to watch that again? That's even worse. Can't watch that again. That game.
I'll tell you what. I feel for anyone that was in there today with the West Ham shirt on. I really, really do. I get what you're saying, Lawrence, but it's hard. Maybe the fans should get behind the team. We're trying here, but there are just no positives to take out of it. You know, if we see some fight next week against Villa, we'll say that. You know, but there was no fight today, and whether it's just a run of form or whether it's something deeper than that, it needs to be called out. And it's been poor for a long time. We've tried to stay positive, but there are no positives today. Our main Troy says our main tactic to attack first half was looping cross for Bowen. Exactly. Aerial battles. Yeah, you know, we just Lawrence, we're pointlessly just lumping it up there and losing it every single time.
There's some of the
massive centre half.
Yeah,
some
of those crosses were so floppy in the air. Sanchez could get up and catch it. It was no, you know, pass, you know, a couple. But how many did we have that kind of just floated off in there and the Sanchez could just go up and get it? Nothing crisp to the side. You know, Benrahma on that one when we were going down the right, Benrahma, somebody should have hit it to the post to him to have a shot. It was just and the answer to the question is I'm always going to be behind West Ham. I always will, no matter what. Every week I'll be putting this shirt on or putting different shirts on. But at the same time, just like Jake says, I will call them out if they're not living up to expectations. But next week I won't be cheering for anybody else but West Ham.
Exactly. You know, we've got to try and stick by them here and hopefully see a bit more fight next week. Let's take some more comments. Dill says, why not start with Skamaka and Cornet? They want to prove something, and Fornals and Antonio will start working harder. Get the new boys in from the start. We are so predictable, says Steve.
Exactly right.
Dill says, while it's quiet with games, we need to pick up points like last year. How can we rely on the middle and end of the seasons when we would have 3 to 4 cups on the go with Europe as well? Yeah, exactly. You know, and let's not forget that in November we break away for the World Cup. You know, November we've got a month, and we could have very few points on the board by then. You know, we've got to start picking up points, and it's got to start happening next week. It needed to happen today. It didn't happen, and it needs to start happening next week. It's an absolute must. Rice is not a captain. How many games before Moyes gets the boot? Well, I don't like to think about that, but I think after the Chelsea game, if we're saying the same sort of stuff and we do get, you know, beaten and battered.
Exactly. If we're 6 games in and got 1 point, you know, the shit's going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what manager you are, what club. If you go 6 games at 1 point, questions are going to be asked, and you're going to be going, "What's going on?" Because we can't go like this. You know that you cannot leave it till it's too late. What's got to change here? So I don't believe that will be the case, but on today's evidence, it could be the case.
Yeah, precisely. Vinay says no signings in January was when the rot set in. Moyes was too stubborn to sign anyone. It was Lingard or no one. Hammer Horrible says, if we haven't won a game in the first 8, then we have to look at Moyes. Yes, it will come. West Ham will not go down. Yeah, we all believe that. We don't think we're going down. But you know, there are serious issues here that need to be sorted out very, very quickly. This is Dill's preferred lineup. I think 3-5-2, Zuma, Kara, Johnson, Cornet, Souček, Rice, Benrahma, Bowen, Antonio Scamacca. Try something new and experiment-wise. You're a boring manager. Teams have clocked on and worked us out. Fremer says, I think we could still get behind a team and still be critical of what's happening at the moment. I agree. Souček looked the most likely to score. He played okay. What do we make of that?
No, not for me. He had 2 good attempts in the last 5 minutes of the game. The rest of the 85 minutes, it was terrible.
And the problem is, we've been seeing with him, and when he is in there, I'll just say it. How many attempts have we seen this year where he's missed in there? And I'm not saying he's not trying, but he's not finishing. And that's been besides today. Even today, we didn't have many shots on goal, but finishing's been our problem all year, even going to last year. We get in position and we cannot finish. If we're around the box or whatever, if it's Antonio or something, we cannot finish and get it into the net when we have our opportunities.
And I don't want to just pick up Souček here. I don't believe there's one player there was over 5 out of 10 today. Not one.
Yeah.
Not one. Fair. Yeah,
I'll give Bowen and Benrahma effort. They'll get an extra point for effort they put in, but nothing else. They didn't produce anything. But that's it. Everyone was poor. Everyone. And that includes Rice. Fabianski just didn't do anything. He just picked the ball out of the net 3 times. Or twice. Should have been 3 times.
Yeah. Moyes is making all the wrong decisions. Troy says we are talking about a really bad result. Of course, it will sound negative as that is reflected in the match. Sharky says left back and centre midfielder should be signed. At least Souček got chances better than Antonio, Bowen, Fornals, and they are attackers. You know, he got chances, but he's just not putting them away. You know, chances at Forest, chances again today. He's got to start burying them.
Even the couple of chances, they resulted in us just booting the ball into the middle and hoping.
Yeah.
You know, and we had 3 big centre halves to deal, and that Webster had a really good game for them. Good boy at the back and Dunk. But that we relied on that. We were desperation in the end there. Just put a ball in there. Hopefully Souček get his head on it, or Rice or anyone. And that's what we did. And he tipped it over the bar. But to me, they were fairly comfortable saves for the goalkeeper. But that was just out of desperation what we were doing there. We could not put 3-4 passes together. We couldn't. We're losing it after 2 passes. We just couldn't hold the ball. I can't understand that. And this isn't just today with the passing, by the way. This has been for quite a while. Our standard of passing is really, really poor.
Yep.
Yeah. Overall passing, Lawrence has a huge thing, and it comes mainly from the midfield as well. That our passing going from defence to midfield to attack is poor.
It's very poor. You hit on it just a minute ago, and other teams know that too. So they hit you hard up there because we cannot pass the ball down. Once we get to midfield and try to move out forward, we rarely do a good job of that, and we're clumsy about it. If not, we pass it back, but that's an issue. And because you see other teams that are solid, they don't have those issues. You see the Brightons coming down, but for us, and they figured this out. I think they put some bodies on the people. That's what they do. Once we just cross over to their side, they start putting bodies on us. We get all clumsy, miss it up. The next thing, it's going another way.
We do. And even Brighton's second goal, it was 2 good passes. Passing to boys' feet, he flicked the ball to Trossard, he ran through, goal. All it was, 2 really good passes.
Crisp, yeah.
And he scored a goal from it.
That was a nice
and
pass.
We can't do it. We seem to lose it, or overhit it, play it too long, play it too hard. The boy miscontrols. It's been really apparent for quite a while now.
Yeah. And just another stat. There's a list of English teams who have yet to score a goal in the league this season. West Ham United, and the list ends there. We are the only team in the Football League who have not scored a goal yet this season. If you don't laugh, you cry. If you do not laugh, you will.
Have we got no goal or anything? No, not even got that.
No. Well, to be fair, if they count disallowed goals, can we just count that in? So we have scored a goal, but it was disallowed.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good point from Mark. Mark says Soucek should have 5-headed goals to his name this season, but he cannot finish. Terrible. He's had so many good chances, man.
That's good, Mark. Exactly. Yeah. 5.
We don't like coming on here being negative, but there's nothing really else to say, is there? There's nothing else really that you can say. There's no positives to take out of it, and it was just overall one of the worst performances I've seen from West Ham in a long time. Let's go on to some final thoughts before we wrap things up. Lawrence, I'll start with you.
Well, I just hope this week we kind of rebound and try something different next week. You know what I mean? Against Villa. I really think we need to mix it up some and bring some of the new players on, and even some of the young guys. When's our game coming up? We play Wednesday or Thursday for the Europe.
Thursday.
So get that going. So, but I'm just more. I don't know. It's about me. I'm just more worried about that Premier League game right now, and just getting a goal for one and getting some points on the board, because this is if not, it's going to get real ugly quick.
It certainly is. Kieran, over to you.
Yeah. I was worried about this game. I thought this was the game where we needed a reaction.
Well, I did too, but now I'm just trying to say, okay, the next game.
We've got to go to the next one now. I know it's double important, but this is the way it goes when you're doing this. At Villa, and if we lose at Villa, can you imagine what it'll be against Chelsea or Spurs?
Well, exactly.
Everything's a must. We're putting pressure on ourselves all the time, and like I said, I can handle losing today to Brighton because we're used to it. I just can't handle that performance. That is so bad. It's, relegated teams play better than that.
Yeah.
Burnley used to play better than that and got relegated. I just can't understand how we can be so good for so long and now so poor. In the last 3 games, especially this one, it was really terrible. So something's got to change. The boys have got to get something from somewhere. I've got to dig in, and something's got to happen. And I just don't know what. After watching that, I don't know what the answer is. I really don't.
No, and David Moyes has got a word his money this week. That is for sure, because it's just, it's just really, really poor from absolute top to bottom. Let's take some of your comments then. Trini Hammer says at least Soucek has chances where Bowen's attempts this season. Is that valid?
Well, he hasn't been in the first 2 games. Bowen was non-existent, completely non-existent.
Yeah, and we said that. Yeah.
Today he was busier, done a bit. I think he might have had 1 shot, but probably nothing else. There was no end product to it. Him or Antonio or Ben Ram, there was no end product. And so Bowen's, I said it, but we've all said that. Man City and Forest, Bowen was just nowhere.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But
he had to get better, didn't he? We relied on him a lot last year, Bowen. We relied on him a lot. So,
and we've just he did play well on Thursday night, but again he wasn't good. He wasn't good again today. But there we go. I'm drained, to be honest. I really am. It's frustrating. It's like you want to just chuck something at your telly, because every single person in this fan base knows at least a couple of things that we can change that Moyes is just not doing. And quite frankly, it's just not good, and it's relegation form. And I don't take that lightly when I say that, because it is relegation form. I know we're only 3 games in, but I don't see how it gets better. We've got to pick up points against Villa. And quite frankly, I don't even want to think about Fleming Spurs or Chelsea in a couple of weeks, because I just do not want to think about it yet. But there we go. Any final words, you two?
Go on, Lawrence.
We complain because we care. We're gonna steep, just wishing them luck, and let's just move on. But it's got to get better. Yeah,
it certainly has. It certainly has. And Kieran, before I let you go to bed, mate.
Yeah, mate. I've been up 22 hours now straight, and I've done.
Holy cow.
I've done 4 streams, and then I've watched that, in between it.
You need a medal, mate.
A medal. I need shooting at this stage. No, very disappointing end to a very long day. That's all.
Yeah.
No. That's what it's stand for you, boys. Get used to it. When you've done it as many years as me, you'll get used to it, and you'll laugh. You'll laugh at it. Or not.
Well, there we go. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. Huge thanks to everybody watching and commenting in the chat. A huge thanks to Lawrence and Kieran for coming on. I mean, there's only one thing left to say. Come on, your irons.
Come on, your irons.
And we'll catch you soon.
Yeah. Please don't get relegated, boys. Come on,
please don't get relegated. Come on, you irons. We'll catch you soon. Right here on West Ham.
We'll be massive next week. We're massive next week.
Yeah, massive next week. Cheers, guys.
That's right.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.